Hey Browns fans, welcome into another edition of Training Camp Insider presented by Snapple. Nathan Zegura and the three-time Super Bowl champion Je'Rod Cherry with you here, coming live from the Greenbrier. Je'Rod, today it all picked up. The shells came on. We saw 11-on-11 full speed. We saw 7-on-7 full speed, both in the middle of the field and in the red zone. A feisty day, good back and forth. But this was fun. This is what we came to the Greenbrier to see.
It certainly was. And it was a situation where you're saying to yourself, are the pads on? Because the excitement, the intensity was certainly there. And that's what you want in these practices. You want to compete. You want to create a scenario where guys are getting after each other, but at the same time, no one's getting hurt.
Right, and that's the key, right? Everybody staying safe. We did have a couple guys going to the tent, Tony Fields and Matthew Adams from the linebacker room. We'll get updates on them from the coaching staff as they become available. But let's go back to the action. Starting in the 7-on-7, one of the big plays today, Donovan Peoples-Jones had a couple of the highlights, but in that first 7-on-7 period, Deshaun Watson hit him on a deep ball over the middle on one of those deep overs, just fitting it over the linebacker, showing the kind of chunk plays this offense can generate.
Certainly, and what I love about the play, one, is Deshaun's touch. That was beautiful. But DPJ, having that sense, okay, it's one thing to run a route, but you also have to know as a receiver, where do I sit down in that zone so I can give my quarterback a nice target? And he certainly did that. And that's a part of his maturation process as a receiver, understanding that you just don't use your speed, but you also have to see the defense for what it's worth and find that soft spot, and he certainly did that, Nathan.
Yeah, DPJ's improved every year in the league, over 800 yards a year ago, and we'll see what he does now in year 4 because he keeps getting better. No one of the highlights, we'll keep it with DPJ for a second when we get into the red zone. And for the offense, not as many highlights as probably they wanted. But this one got Amari Cooper and all the guys watching, talking. He ran just a beautiful route that left Greg Newsome on the ground. Right after Greg had made a couple of great plays, by the way. He did have a good day. And it was just one of those easy pitch and catches and just a great route. What did you see there as a former DB?
Well, first of all, what I saw from formation standpoint, Nathan, is that, hey, if he's lined that tight to the line of scrimmage, something's going back outside, and that's certainly what took place. So Greg has to be up on that, realize that. But again, great move on the part of DPJ of using his physical attributes to the best of his ability, made a heck of a play, got the offense fired up, and the defense was quite a bit quieter after that situation took place.
All right, and then we'll stick with David Njoku on the offense side. The Chief, he had a nice day. Caught a big corner for a big chunk play from Deshaun Watson. And then what I love, Je'Rod, is they're using him to get him in space. He is a playmaker. And we had a couple plays. One was a misdirection where everything flowed left and they threw it back out to him right. He kind of leaked out. And the other was the opposite. Everything was the action was to the right. They get to Chief in space left, and he's able to pick up 10-plus yards on both of those plays. I like that. As a defense, how does that stress you when you flow everything one way and leak out an athlete like David Njoku on the other side to get him the ball with one guy to beat?
Beautiful play design. And the reason why it's so beautiful is that we've seen Chief do what? Catch a short route and take it to the house 60, 70 yards. He has that capability. So when you do the misdirection play and you send the defense one way and you leave him isolated with a linebacker or a D lineman or even a cornerback, one, he's going to win that speed matchup with those D linemen and linebackers, and he's going to outmaneuver and outsize the cornerback. So it's a great play design to put him in a position to succeed. Love that play, and I'm pretty sure they'll utilize it a lot.
Yeah, I like that one. A couple other notables on the offensive side. When Kellen Mond was in there, found Mike Harley Jr. for really the first touchdown, it felt like, of training camp. And then Harrison Bryant on a tight end screen, that one-handed catch, that was a nice one. But overall, ultimately, this brings a smile to your face. I would say the day did belong to the Browns defense. You see the push. Dalvin Thomas against Denzel had PBUs. Greg had PBUs. They were all over the place. They were talking a lot, and you can see that this defense, with the power of Smith, the power of Tomlinson, Miles, this is going to be a fun defense to watch.
Certainly, and the fact that they're animated about it is what I really love, Nathan, because you want to see, again, that intensity. You want to see guys getting after their opponent, and they're doing that with the offense. But the beautiful thing is no one got injured in the process. But, yes, in my opinion, the defense definitely won the day today, and I'm pretty sure the offenses want to do something about that come Friday and Saturday.
Well, yeah, they let the offense know about it at the end of the day. And in that red zone period, Thomas Graham had a great PBU. Jim Schwartz runs onto the field after Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah covers David Njoku on a corner, forces an incompletion. He ran on the field. I can't say what he said, but he was very pleased with what he saw there. And Bo Keys, the young cornerback who's with the Browns now, had a nice day. PBU, almost an interception, forced another one out on a third down. So a lot of guys on the defense stepping up. Denzel Ward had a great PBU earlier as well. So a good day from the defense. And as you said yesterday, to be fair, the defense will be a little ahead of the offense. We saw a lot of highlights from the offense, but overall, the defense very solid. And it's exciting. I think this defense has what you need up front. It's got what you need on the back end. And then that linebacking group for Jason Tarver today played very well.
Absolutely loving what I'm seeing out of this defense thus far. Obviously, we got a lot of more work to do, and Coach Schwartz will be the first to tell you that. But more importantly, you're not hearing a bunch of guys being cursed at or yelled at for making mistakes, but out there competing, and that's ultimately what you want on days like this.
And shout out to our guy, Browns cornerback coach Brandon Lynch. His guys had a very nice day today. He is such a stickler for the technique, and you saw them put that to very good use. Things that the Browns offense beat them with in minicamp, they were prepared for today. Now, the Browns have a lot of versatility on offense, and really one of the stars of this offseason was a guy they traded for, Elijah Moore, the former second-round pick of the New York Jets. They've been using him all over the field. We caught up with him earlier about what it's like to have joined the Browns and what he's expecting from this offense. I remember talking to you right after the trade, and you were so excited to be here. You're excited to see how they were going to use you. Well, now you've had some time here. You've been in the slot. You've been out wide. You've been in the backfield. You've been taking handoffs. They're using you in a lot of ways. So has it matched up to what you hoped it was going to be when you knew that you were getting traded to the Cleveland Browns?
Yes, actually, I feel like it's, exactly how I want to be used, and I'm just grateful to be here. I'm getting challenged in practice, and, they move me around just like you said, and, slowly but surely picking it up, and I feel like it's going to be like a really good part of our game.
Elijah, you're a veteran. You have opportunity to be in another training camp. From making the transition from the Jets to here, from a jargon standpoint of what they're saying, from a playbook standpoint as well, how has that transition been for you?
I feel like it's been going good. Slowly but surely. Every day. We've been killing it with meetings. So, and that's like the more, I would say, important part to me as far as like getting in there first, slowing it down, and then transitioning to the field. So, I feel like it's been going well.
You talked about when you first came here that you were excited to come play with Deshaun Watson, that you knew him, you guys had some history together, trained together, and that now you can see that chemistry already. How do you feel like that part of it is gone? Because it feels like you guys are already on the same page and you haven't even played a game together yet.
Yeah, that's what it's like having a guy like that at quarterback. I feel like with him it kind of doesn't matter who he's throwing to, and it kind of shows you, he showed that in his past. So just having people who are detailed and, I feel like maybe on the same level as him, I want to be like the quarterback out there, and I know Amari's like that, and the rest of our guys are like that too, and we get to feed like that off each other. So I feel like having the mentality of that only makes things easier.
And Elijah, a lot of chirping out there today at practice. What does that do to you as a competitor when the defense is talking a lot of noise?
It just get me fired up. Like I don't know how everybody else responds to that, but I love that. I want them to get loud, because as soon as we shut that down, just record their reaction next time.
Well, it started a little bit. DPJ put a nice move in the corner on Greg Newsome, and then you heard Amari talking a little bit of trash, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, all right, and the trash came back. You can just tell, and did you feel this way? It felt like to me, and probably I'm sure you would agree, Je'Rod, watching, the intensity of today versus even what we saw at minicamp, you can tell that it's up. Did you feel that?
Definitely. I feel like everybody's energy is, excited to be out here. You look around, you see it's beautiful. How could you not?
For that full interview with Elijah Moore, you can get it tonight at 7 p.m. on the Browns app as well as the Browns YouTube channel, youtube.com/Browns. Je'Rod, I love this kid. I loved him coming out of Ole Miss where he dominated the SEC, led the nation in yards per game, catches per game, all of those things. And you get a guy with that versatility, and you can tell he's happy to be here. But here's the thing. This wasn't even in the interview. As he was walking away, he said, what are you doing? It's your day off tomorrow. He's like, I'm just going to get my body right. Professional. He is excited about the opportunity. I think that came across.
Oh, it certainly does. And what you also love, Nathan, is the fact that he said, and I've seen it, he has to slow himself down. One of your biggest concerns is a guy going to give you his all, day in and day out. And when you have that dynamic taking place for you, where a guy is giving his all, and he's out there showing you how you can be a professional, how you better yourself as an athlete, you love that. You endorse that. You promote that. You do everything possible to give that guy the rock, because other guys will see this is how it should be done.
Well, listen, they have done everything they can to get this guy the rock. We talked about it with Elijah there. From a defensive standpoint, when you have a guy that's that talented and all of a sudden you see him, wait a second, he's lined up in the backfield next to the quarterback. He might be a linebacker's responsibility at that point, maybe a safety if you got a guy down in the box. How does that stress a defense, and how does that open things up, not only for Elijah, if he gets a one-on-one, you feel like he's going to win that, but if they try to account for that, how does that make it easier for the offense to find soft spots in a defense that's worried about a guy who's too talented to be lined up in that spot as a pass catcher in those passing situations?
It creates chaos, because typically with a defensive back, what you're thinking is, okay, this guy does this on the 7 route, he does this on his 9 route, he does this on his comeback. But when you got a guy lined up in the backfield potentially, or in the slot position, or the X or the Z, then you don't know what the heck he's going to do. So that always puts you in a guessing game as a defensive back, so you really can't hone in on anything. So it's kind of hard to get comfortable. So that's what he brings to the table. And when you equate that with the speed factor, what he possesses as well, and he's going to catch the ball when it's thrown his way, great opportunities to create what we call a mismatch waiting to happen.
Yeah, and that's where you get those chunk plays in this offense. You mentioned the great hands. Last year, this is a crazy stat. He caught more passes than he had catchable targets. Now, you could argue the logic of that. Obviously, if he caught one that was uncatchable, it had to be catchable by definition.
Right.
However, that's what the stats say, and I know we're excited about it, and so is our head coach, Kevin Stefanski. We had him mic'd up at training camp here at the Greenbrier.
Talked about stacking days, right? We got to stack days no matter what that day is. Ford talked about doing the little things right. Whatever that thing is in front of you guys, we got to stack that day, okay? So today, great work of locking in out here. And then we're in those meetings, we got to be locked in as hell. We're not wasting one day as we stack these things, okay? A little bit of work, right? That was a little bit of work. Is anybody afraid of a little work? Is anybody afraid of a little extra work? Okay, so when you come out here or when practice ends, are you afraid of a little extra work? What can you do before you leave this field? I've said this before, and it's the truth. The first guy on the field and the last guy to leave the field has never been a bad player in the history of football, okay? So have that mentality that I'm going to do extra, whether it's before, whether it's after these meetings, whether it's working on my body, I'm going to do extra because that's what it takes, all right? Team on three. 1, 2, 3.
We've got a lot more of our head coach mic'd up, and you can catch it this Sunday, July the 30th, with a new episode of Unleashed. All right, Je'Rod, the Browns were unleashed today, but we're still a few days away from the pads coming on. But today really felt like day one of this training camp. The guys get a day off tomorrow. Some will be using it for their body. Some will be exploring this beautiful area that we're in as well. But how do you hope to see them come back and respond? How would you use that day off to get ready for Thursday, because that's the last day before the pads come on?
Well, it's all about getting your mind right, getting the reps in. We're still in alignment and assignment mode, but once those pads come on, you're still in that mode. But the difference is now let's bring some physicality to the table and express yourself. Do more things to get your name in the paper, if you will. But more importantly, walk away from it with no one getting hurt, but have intense practices so that you do get better as a offense, defense, as a special teams unit. Because guess what? Next week, there's a football game about to take place, and it's a great opportunity for guys to put something out there on film or tape, or however you want to put it, and just put their career in a spot to where they're advancing as opposed to declining.
Absolutely. So day off tomorrow for the Browns. They'll be back Thursday in the shells again, and then the padded practices begin on Friday. They'll have pads on Friday and Saturday. Je'Rod and I will have training camp insiders for you on both Friday and Saturday, breaking down everything that happens in those padded practices. For the great Je'Rod Cherry, I'm Nathan Zegura saying thanks again for watching Training Camp Insider, presented by Snapple.